back to my channel. One of the big things that I really wanted to do was interview my friends and my family on certain subjects and topics that we have gone through, just to get like awareness out, because I feel like a lot of us go through the same things but nobody talks about it. So hopefully this can just help you, or help you talk about what you're going through to help others. So today I have my best friend Taylor.
Hi everyone, I'm Taylor.
Funny thing is, me and Taylor actually met in high school, like informally. And I actually did not like Taylor in high school. She was friends with these two girls that like hated me over a boy, and I was like, ugh, she's friends with them. But we actually ended up being freshman roommates.
We lived together.
And we had the same bedspread. Like, it was crazy. I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then
we lived together in Houdini too.
Yep. So we lived together our freshman year, not our sophomore, and then our junior and senior year, and we've been best friends ever since.
Yep.
So it's pretty crazy.
We worked together. We took the Y together.
We coached together.
We coached together. We've done a lot together.
Yeah.
Long story short.
And today we're here in LA for Labor Day weekend.
And we spent a couple of Labor Days together. Which is funny too, because we didn't even intentionally plan that, but I guess we kind of did. But
right. So today, well, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell people what you kind of do.
My name is Taylor, like we stated. I am I'm not a licensed Georgia attorney yet.
Yes.
But I have worked as a staff associate, law clerk. I went to law school. I graduated from Ole Miss, University of Miami. I was an English major undergrad, so my field is legal, law, advocacy. That's my thing. So.
Right. So if you have any questions, I'll be sure to like tag her. She's super smart, so
and
be
I have
sure.
a lot of friends who know a lot of different things.
Right.
That we need help.
Right. So we're just going to talk about today some of the experiences that Taylor has experienced thus far in her career. Two of the topics are microaggression and racism. So I have a few questions that I'm going to ask her, and we're going to get started. Okay, so the first question I have for Taylor is with microaggression. So tell me some of the experiences you have experienced with that.
The worst, I don't want to say the worst, but one of the experiences that made me uncomfortable that I really didn't know how to take it head on is microaggressions that I personally think stem from the narrative that black people, or black women in particular, are inadequate. They're not as smart as, they're not as capable of, just all the stereotypes that have been perpetuated. And I experienced at one of the places I worked, there were rules and signs that were posted all around where we worked that said, one in particular said, do not go out this door. So the only thing you need to follow that rule is to know how to read and follow instructions, period. That's all you need. And if you were an attorney, we read and we write a lot. So it's a no-brainer that I know how to read and I know how to follow instructions. That's like, hate to dumb down the profession to that, but that's the basis of the job. You gotta know how to decipher something, read it, understand it, and apply it. So I was approached by one of my supervisors who told me that someone told her that I went out the door one, and basically asked me not to do it again. I never, and it was at first I was like, okay, it's just a misunderstanding. But then as I sat back, as the conversation continued to flow, I realized that she didn't give me the benefit of the doubt. She didn't think that it was a misunderstanding. She truly believed that I had blatantly disregarded the instructions and done something I shouldn't have done, which not only insulted my intelligence, my ability to read. One thing that everybody knows who goes through law school or is taking the bar, telling the truth and fraud is a big thing. So you can kind of commit any kind of crime, but if you lie, you don't tell the truth, that's a big deal, because you have to be able to trust your attorney. You have to be trustworthy in the field. So it's kind of like she didn't trust me. She thought I wasn't telling the truth. And I repeatedly told her, I'm like, I didn't go out this door. And she's like, well, just don't do that, and da-da-da-da. And it hurt my feelings, y'all. It really hurt my feelings, because it was like, not only do you think that I can't read, decipher these instructions and follow them, but you believe something that somebody else told you that was not true. You didn't give me time to stick up for myself. You didn't even double check if her facts or her alleged accusation of what I did was true. And it really hurt my feelings. It hurt my feelings, and it put me in a bad place. I know it seems like something very, very small, but it was huge. And it was like moments like that repeatedly can wear down on you. And like if I would have been more prepared, like I didn't think nobody would ask me, did you go out the store? Like it was something so stupid. Right. And it hurt my feelings. It did. It hurt my feelings. It made me feel like they didn't believe me. They didn't think I was capable of even reading or doing the work. And the fact that somebody would say I did something that never happened bothered me too, because it's like, what is going on here?
Right.
How do you feel about me?
So after that incident, how did you move forward? Or were you able to move forward, or?
It made me feel like I didn't want to work there. I'll be honest. It made me feel like this is not the place for me. It made me feel uncomfortable.
Right.
And it made me put my guard up, and that's something I advise against. I don't think that's something that you should ever do. I think when you get in situations like that, you should kind of push the matter behind you. Be aware, but focus on what you need to get done. Focus on being positive, and focus on what's in front of you, and then being done with it, taking it home. And I held on to it, and it made me hate my work environment. Even when things weren't bad, or even when I was just on my own doing what I was supposed to do, it made me hate my work environment, and that's not healthy for us.
Right.
It's not healthy at all.
Okay, so the next question I have for Taylor is concerning racism. So have you experienced any racism in the workplace? Or
I have. I've experienced racist comments where a lot of people really do the ignorance. A lot of people will say certain things to me. Ignorance. Like, that's really it. They'll say certain things to me that they don't view as racist, or they'll say certain things that they don't really understand. Or they'll put you in situations that are like, that are very racist, and then you'll be looking like, what is going on?
Do you think, I've experienced that too, and sometimes I'm like, do they know what they just said? Mm-hmm. And I have to be like, do I really need to go off on these people, or do I just
I need to just chill? Right. Like, what? Like, do you know what you just did to me? Right. Do you know what you just said? And I'm looking like, huh?
Right. Like, how can you even like say that?
And the worst uncomfortable thing is when it's like, I don't want to say a superior, but like a senior somebody.
Right.
And then it's like, do I school you?
Right.
Do I
keep my job?
Do I keep my job? Like, do I tell you, okay, you've lost your mind? Like, it doesn't even have to be a stereotypical, like, who do you think you're talking to? It can really be like, well, what you said was really inaccurate. It makes me uncomfortable. Like, or if I say that, am I going to get fired?
Right.
It's like, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, I've experienced it in almost every job I've worked there, especially in South Florida. So.
And you know what? Before I actually went to go visit Taylor, and I didn't realize, I don't want to say the racism, or I just didn't think South Florida would be like that until I went down there, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, I think people who grow up down there, I'm not going to generalize everything, but I think people who grow up down there, they grow up in their communities, and they grow up with their comfortable with, and the people they're around.
Right.
And for an outsider moving in, it was mind blowing to me. I experienced a lot of racism from the day I moved into my condo to the day I left.
That's crazy.
From another minority group, which was even crazier, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't experience it from a lot of white people. I experienced it from a lot of non-white people who I thought would look at me like, I feel you, when they didn't. They were not nice to me at all.
Right. I want you to touch on, Taylor actually went to Ole Miss for a couple of years, and I want you to touch on your experience from Ole Miss and South Carolina State.
My experience going from one of the best HBCUs in the land,
Go Bulldogs,
Go Bulldogs, to the University of Mississippi was drastic. I want to preface this and say, my classmates and the family I made, I love them. Like, I respect people from Mississippi so much. Black people from Mississippi so much. Mississippi has a culture of its own, and I hate that it gets overshadowed by the ignorance and the nastiness and the racism and just the pure white supremacist hate attitude, because Mississippi is so rich with so much beautiful things, and then there's other narratives That's all you hear. People like, I'll never go to Mississippi. And I'm like, there's so many beautiful experiences in Mississippi, but you don't even want to go there because all you think is KKK, Confederate this, Confederate that. So I just want to purposely say that Mississippi is beautiful. I love it. But the campus, we had to create our own space. Long story short.
Which is crazy, and we're in 2019 that you have to do that.
You have to create your own space. In South Carolina State, it didn't matter who you were. I know anybody who went there, or anybody who's gone to HBCU. I mean, you could be anybody, anything, and you were safe and you were comfortable and you could do your own thing.
Right.
I had a classmate at Ole Miss who told me he kind of felt invisible on campus because he wasn't in a frat, he wasn't in, he didn't play football, he didn't play basketball. He was just a normal, average black student. And it was almost like he didn't exist there. And I hate that. It shouldn't be like that.
Right.
So it was drastic. I experienced some not fun things from classmates, some really, really kind of oppressive things from some teachers. I had some very, very awesome professors, deans, just some great, professors and people there. But it just was some stuff that happened there that I just did not enjoy. And we had to create our own space. We had to make sure we had each other's backs. And one thing I want to always tell people that comes to my mind, we're always told that we have to be the best, do the best, to stand out in these situations, and that puts an insane and unfair amount of pressure on you that we don't deserve.
Right.
You don't have to be at the top of the class to stand there and make it through. You don't have to have the best brief or the best paper or the best anything, because there's too much pressure on ourselves that we don't deserve. You can simply exist and just be you. And should be able to make it and be comfortable. And I think that was my issue. I felt like I had to be the best. I had to stand out. And when I got hit with all these type of barriers, it really, really bothered me and kind of made me shut down academically and kind of withdraw. And you shouldn't do that.
Do you think you put that pressure on yourself, or that came from
I think I put it on myself in response to the environment that I was in, because I never had that pressure at South Carolina State.
Right.
I simply was just being me, doing my own thing in South Carolina State. Those issues that I dealt with at Ole Miss didn't exist in Orangeburg.
Right.
And it wasn't like a sheltered environment that some people like to say about HBCUs, because it's really not. It's not like, oh, we're just going to pretend like this is the world we live in. No. It's just we are just living in a safe space for a little bit of time. For 4 years on a campus that really loves you and wants you to do the best. I mean, we got all our issues that any other school does, but it's just a little bit of time. So I wasn't worried about my professor not liking me because I'm black. I wasn't worried about my classmates, having something to say about me because I'm black. I wasn't worried about, is the blind grading really blind? Is this my real grade, or is this the grade that I got because you wanted to give somebody else the only 4 A's that they have in the class? You know what I'm saying? So it's just different things. And so the pressure I put on myself was a response to the stimulus I had in that environment in Oxford that I never experienced before in my life.
Right.
Had I been a little bit less ignorant, not so doughy-eyed, I'm going to Ole Miss, it's going to be fun, it's law school, I think I'd have been able to handle what was coming towards me a little bit better, and I wouldn't have put that pressure on myself. And the narrative that we always hear, especially from the older generation, you got to be the best, you got to do this. No, you don't.
Right.
Do your best. Your best is good. You'll get better, but you shouldn't have that you got to be the best, got to do the best attitude all the time, because it's not fair to us. It's just not.
Do you think when, automatically I think of Caucasians, but when they come to a HBCU or they aren't the minority, do you think they experience that as well? Do you think they have the same?
I think it might be some of a culture shock for some who might not have grown up around a large population of black people just because you haven't been around a lot of black people. But it's I don't think it's I don't want to use the word traumatizing, but I don't think it's as crazy as what it's like for us, because it's just, I don't know, it's just different. We don't want you to leave. We're not going to say we don't want you here.
Right.
We have white
feel welcome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we might joke with you, whatever, but it's not hate.
Right.
It's not like I hate you, I don't want you here, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make you feel uncomfortable, to make you not want to be here, to make you want to leave.
Right.
And I think that's the difference, because, and I'm not going to generalize, because everybody's not like that. I had some really, really cool classmates that didn't look like me that I love. But, like, I don't think a white person ever has to walk into a room and go, okay, do you like black people? Do you hate black people? You know, is your great-great-granddaddy a former slave? Like, you don't go through that in your head when you walk into a whole group of black people. Right. When I walk into a room full of white people, I say, thank God, you know, I'm here. What's going on? This is my new job. And then I automatically, my wheels start to turn. Like, okay, who, like, your sensitivity is a little bit higher than normal.
Right.
I think that's just, it's not fair. I think that's something that we brought on ourselves a little bit just from the experiences that we've lived in through this work, because I didn't used to be like that. I'll be honest, when I played sports, if I walked into a gym full of white girls playing volleyball, I never was like, okay, who hates me? Who doesn't like me?
Right.
Like,
why do you think it's different in sports?
Because it's sports, and that's our society. That's what it is. Like, it's sports. Like, Ole Miss, for example, one of the most, you know,
right.
That area is Confederate South, but the football team is majority black, and,
right. And
they love them.
And love them.
They love them. They love them. But you get hurt, or you do something they don't like, or you can't play football no more, right. and they hate you again.
Like, right.
So yeah, it's sports, and that's the sad, you know, one of the realities of our society. Because no, I didn't really have an adverse reaction or a real racist moment playing sports. Besides, you know, okay, we go to Habersham County,
right,
where it's like, okay, yeah, it's known that they don't like black people, so we like, okay, we're gonna go up here and we might get some stares.
Right.
We might get some people looking at you crazy, but that's every blue moon. But when you're not presenting as an athlete and you're just a normal, average person just coming into a space, you don't know. You do not know what you're going to get. Like, even when I walked in, at my last job, I walked in for training, and it was automatically assumed that I wasn't even an attorney. And it's like, you know that you got 2 attorneys coming in today for training. Why would you assume that I'm not one of them?
Right. That's crazy.
So, I don't know. I think it's just sports. You know how it is. It's
right.
just sports.
Do you think you would have experienced some of those other things if you would have went to a different PWI? Or you would have felt the same?
I think it would have been similar.
Really?
Yeah, I think it would have been the same. Especially in the South. And then, and I love y'all, I'm a Georgia girl, I'm from the South, but I think it would have been the same. People try to paint it all different ways, but it would have been the same. Yeah. So it's not even just Ole Miss. And I love that I went to Ole Miss for law school. Like, I had some great experiences there, but I think it would have been the same.
Right. So next question, knowing the experiences that you have experienced, how would you prepare for it, or how would you tell others to prepare for it? Without going with, like, you know, it already blocked off, or,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Take the pressure off yourself. I don't want to say focus on self, but like, I don't care what y'all got going on. I don't care how y'all feel about me. I don't care what's going on. I'm going to focus on the good, and I'm going to focus on what I need to get done to be a better me, to make myself a more successful attorney, to make myself a more successful student, and by my own standard. And take the pressure off. Seriously, take the pressure off. Don't be ignorant. Don't be ignorant. Don't act like everything's all good. Oh, I don't see color and all that. Don't be ignorant now, because we have classmates that's like, yo, I don't get what the problem is. This is like, that's part of the problem.
Right.
Don't be ignorant. Be aware of what's going on, but just focus on what you need to get done, and join as many clubs as possible. Yes. Meet as many different people as possible. If you're a black person who only grew up around black people and you kind of like weary, go mix and mingle with some people that don't look like you. There's common ground, because we're all humans. There's common ground. And some place you can, okay, yeah, I've been there too. So come in with focus on what you need to get done, but be open to everything. I was in PILF. I was in Black Law Students Association, Constance Slaughter Harvey chapter. I was in Law Association. I was in Public Interest Foundation. I did all kind of things where I met and mingled with all different types of people. And I think that'll help you, even for if you're on the other side of the spectrum, a white person who isn't as comfortable, it'll help you break down those things. And then you'll be more aware. Like for me, if we had more talks about microaggressions,
right,
maybe I wouldn't have been so sensitive to it as I experienced it. I'm not going to discount my feelings and say I shouldn't have been as sensitive as I was, but I could have kind of checked it a little better and been like, okay, I don't like that. I'm aware of it, mental note, but let me get my work done so I can go home instead of been sitting there hurt and like, you know, and I could have dealt with it later. So I say just take the pressure off, be open, be aware, don't be ignorant, and then focus on what you need to get done to make yourself a better you.
Right. And I think a lot of times when that ignorance or disrespect happens, a lot of times they don't even know that they did it. So again, don't take it personal.
Yeah, like, and if you can tell that it is intentional, dismiss it. Don't even give that energy. Don't even feed into that.
Because a lot of times that's what they want,
Mm-hmm.
is to get that energy and get you fed up so you can quit.
So you can't quit, so you can't get fired. Like, yeah. Like, when you realize it's intentional, like, I worked at a bar at Ole Miss, and I had a coworker who was doing things intentionally. And I stopped giving him attention. And he couldn't stand it. Then he just left me alone. Right. So it's like, all right.
Crazy.
So when you know it's intentional, but if it's true ignorance and you feel that that person truly doesn't understand, even if you think they should in today's society, you can politely talk to them about it in school. But don't feel like it's your duty to make them know, because some people will still choose not to understand, still choose to mistreat you, and that's when you go back and say, okay, what do I need to do today? All right, see you.
Right. Okay, so the last question I have for her, if you could do anything different about your career, would you, and what would you do?
I would have something to tell anybody who goes to law school. Do a clinical. Do trial ad. Try to get on moot court. Do things that'll give you more experience and have more interactions with people, because we're going to have to interact with all kinds of people who like, do not like us, want us to be there, don't want us to be there. I let some of the stuff we talked about keep me from doing some of the things that would have helped me in my career and helped me understand more. I didn't do any clinicals. I volunteered a couple of times, but I didn't do certain things because of how I felt about the circumstances, and I only hurt myself. So if you go to law school or paralegal, anything, do things that will get you experience with all kinds of people. Talk to more people about it. And if you feel uncomfortable, 9 times out of 10, there's somebody else who feels exactly the way you do. So don't be scared to voice and talk about your feelings, because that's where you get the camaraderie, and that's where you get to understand, okay, yes, our feelings are valid, and we can still push through this and be successful here at this law school. So that's what I would have done different.
Okay, I don't have any more questions. Do you have anything else for the people?
No, I'm sure Alyse will throw some information up about me. Y'all can just holler at me. I'm an open book. More than just law things. So
yes. So I'm going to tag her IG underneath. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask her. I thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any other topics that you guys would like me to talk about, be sure to also comment those below. And other than that, you guys have a great day. We love you. Peace, love, and blessings.
Bye.